Hi, Elizabeth. I'll bet you're wondering why I'm looking at your spread like this. Well, the reason is because in Acrobat, if I'm in view and I go to page display and I go to enable, I'm sorry, if I go to two-page view, that's what I have. So basically, and then conversely, if I go to view and I go to page display, single page view, you can see that this wasn't designed as a spread. So that's an issue. Um, Let me go back to that so we can at least see that two-page view. So this page should be over here. Of course, this page should be over here. So it looks like you're set up and you're doing a page, one page at a time in InDesign when you lay this out. So make sure you design in spreads in InDesign. Make sure you set this up in spreads. And it will export to PDF perfectly. So, and then I've got your other layout here, and let's talk about let's talk about color first. I'm just wondering why you elected to use a blue background. When you use a color background, it changes everything in typography. In other words, you can't really get away with using this serif typeface with this really tight kerning. Um, you can get away with it with a white background, most definitely. But whenever you add color, you're really adding a whole new set of rules to the mix. So I personally don't see any conceptual advantage of having color on your background pages. So typographically, so I think you're set up pretty well. You're doing well. You understand this is a two-column grid, and you've stuck to that two-column grid throughout the spread. This is a nice pull quote, very interesting. I'm wondering why it would be at the end of the article, though. It seems like it would be more interesting, maybe placed up somewhere here in the middle of the article. A pull quote generally is to allow the eye to have a place to rest. So it doesn't really make sense because there's a rest at the end of the article anyways. See what I mean? So anyways, now your typography is set, your paragraphs are set beautifully. Your justified type settings are leaving some unusual spaces in different areas, as we can see right here. Look at how tightly that is kerned, and then, as opposed to maybe a line like that. So you want to adjust those. Now, you're a good 9 or 10 spaces deep on your indent. So don't use, reset your tab for 3 or 4 spaces deep. That's it, man. I mean, you don't need to go that deep. It just decimates your left margin. Widows and orphans, that's a widow right there. So you definitely don't want that. The rest looks pretty good. That's it. That deep indent is just destroying. I think it really is destroying your typography. So I would definitely recommend you change that. Let's take a look at the next. Oh, and then this one, the same comments here. I mean, this is basically the same layout, I think. Yeah, it's pretty much the same layout. Let's see. Darn close anyway. So, but anyways, this type looks awesome too. And I'm so glad that you used justified here, left align, rag right. I'm sorry, I didn't mean justified. Left align, rag right. But your rags are really, they're kind of all over the place. Remember, rags go like this: long, short, long, short, long, short, long, short. And it doesn't have to be perfect by any stretch, but you definitely don't want like these big, boing, boing, back and forth like that. You don't want that. These are perfect right here. That's beautiful right there. These are fine too. Just right here, that big long lines, those big long lines. Okay. Hey, good job. I mean, you're right in there. This takes practice. Okay, so definitely just keep practicing. It takes a while. But once you get page layout and typographic composition down, it's like you can do it in your sleep. So, before I go, I wanted to mention there's something called a gutter. Gutter is the space between your columns of type, and this is just too wide. So it creates too much attention to this big gap right here. So we would definitely want to bring those two type columns a little closer together. Okay, awesome job, thanks.